friends, and welcome to episode 18 of Drenched in Wonder Cannabis Conversations. Ooh, we are down to the final week, or we will be after this. So we have covered some topics in these videos / podcasts, friends, and we've got a few more to go, of course. One of the ones that I wanted to dive into, and it's one that I've touched on already to an extent, but this question of cannabis and mental health. Is it a friend or foe? It's one that I wanted to explore and to talk about responsibly. And it is, of course, a deep rabbit hole of a topic to dive into. And once again, to acknowledge that I am not a medical professional nor a mental health professional. My experience with cannabis is one lens through which to view this whole topic, and it's certainly not a universal truth. But having the experience that I've had, and as I've mentioned, that has been both wonderful and very, very challenging at different times, I feel like it is one to speak about. And obviously, as something that affects people so differently, it's a very challenging one to speak about. As we've seen, just with the whole question of, is cannabis harmless or harmful? It's a very difficult question to answer. It can be both. And the question of whether cannabis is a friend or foe to mental health is similarly challenging. We are obviously all, each of us, vastly different humans. We are each completely unique in our upbringings, in our experiences, in our circumstances. And from the research that I've done and the information that I've seen, it does seem clear that there are some for whom cannabis is not a good idea. If there are pre-existing mental health conditions, then exploring the use of cannabis, which could be a very helpful thing, obviously needs to be done with the assistance of a mental health professional. The fact that we still live in a time of stigma and that the conversation around cannabis is not as of yet more open, it does make it harder than it needs to be. And we see all the different factors that contribute to whether or not we have a good experience or a not so good experience with cannabis, including dosage, including our general mindset at the time, including our environment, our circumstances, all of these things. I do believe the time is coming where we can kind of safely and openly explore the best way that cannabis may affect us in a legal and supported way. Not to say this isn't already happening, of course, but we're still in a time of stigma, and so we're limited. And as we continue to move out of this phase, we are going to find a whole new world open up. I am one person, of course, and I have found that largely cannabis is very beneficial to my life. I do genuinely believe that it has helped my mental health. I find calm, I find clarity, I find insight, I find a new level of kind of emotional depth and emotional openness. I find creative grounding, and I find like a pleasant challenge to my perspective. As I've mentioned in a previous episode, I've also become more stoic, less angry, less easily rattled. It's not to say that this doesn't occasionally happen, of course, but it has given me a new insight and a new knowledge of myself. I think often to the film The Matrix, where Neo meets the Oracle for the first time, and above the Oracle's door, there's that inscription, and they talk about it, and she reveals that it means know thyself, and to know oneself and accept oneself. This, I think we can agree, is like something that we're all striving for to some degree. And for me, that's one of the clear benefits that cannabis has offered my life. And I also find that it relieves stress and anxiety and overthinking when the use is intentional and balanced, of course. Now, as we've seen, it can very quickly go the other way. Stress and anxiety and overthinking, all of these things can be enhanced with cannabis. And as much as I obviously talk about the benefits of cannabis, there have been many times where I've realized that this is no longer a good thing right this moment. It's time to stop. And for the regular, ongoing user, taking some time away from cannabis is important as well. And sometimes I've just kind of known that it's exactly what I need to do. Balance. Another recurring theme of this podcast, balanced use. And of course, as we've seen, when one does go too far, when the use is no longer intentional, when the approach is no longer one of respect, then we've seen what can happen there too. The mind is an incredibly powerful thing, and we need to have respect for that as well. If we are open to it and open to the idea of being taken on a journey of sorts, that we may, in fact, probably will encounter things that we're perhaps not fully comfortable with. If we can be open to that and go with the flow, then my feeling is that we will find something of use and maybe just something new, something fun. But we have to be open and ready, and it has to happen in our own time. Because the experience of cannabis as a psychological kind of enhancer, that is going to take us to different places. And maybe they're places that we're not yet ready to go. Also, as we've already seen, there are some easy patterns to kind of fall into here. And again, the tipping point. Episode 7, check it out. Are we using cannabis to avoid or to numb certain feelings? Are we trying to escape something? And obviously, being mindful of this slow creep of dependence or of constantly going that little bit deeper, a little bit deeper, a little bit deeper. Again, balance. And again, as this conversation becomes kind of more accepted and more normalized, then we're going to see more and more this very kind of nuanced, very exciting, like deep rabbit hole of a topic and a conversation to actually have. Cannabis can be an incredible friend to our mental health, but it also can become something else. And for most of us, I suspect that the relationship would be a very friendly one. But as we've seen, that relationship can shift. And as we've seen, there are some for whom cannabis is certainly not for. Every day we're learning more, the conversation continues, and this whole world, this whole kind of industry, and this whole realm of cannabis as a creative tool, as a tool for mental health and wellness, we're seeing and we're understanding more and more the power that it actually has. One final analogy to share with you. If we think of it like the ocean is so big and powerful that can we really call it either a friend or an enemy? We can all enjoy the ocean, even if we're just paddling in the shallows. But the ocean, of course, can become dangerous. But we learn to swim. What about you? Have you found cannabis to be supportive of your mental health, or has it challenged it? Or is it both? Thank you for joining me for this episode, friends. For our next episode, we're going to jump into yet another deep dive topic. This one, driving with cannabis. Ooh, okay. Gotta face this eventually. I'll look forward to having you with me, friends. As always, be safe, yes, and be smart, yes. I'll see you soon.